Hi everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres, and obviously we're at an event. This is the front of our shop, and this is my little mini museum. My mini museum is actually a collection of real artifacts that are not for sale to the general public, or anybody else for that matter, but they're things I've collected over the years that are real artifacts, and I make copies of them for the shop.
Why were you dusting, Irene?
You sweep usually, and I dust every morning. This is a dusty site. Even regular sites that are not particularly dusty, we usually check in the morning. We have a little Swiffer thing, because you get a layer of dust just from people walking through. And here, unfortunately, we have to be dusty this year because it's been very dry, and they can't have the water to water the grass. So yeah, that's why. And this is my little mini museum. These are all actually real artifacts that I have purchased over the years. Whenever possible, I actually haven't bought any in quite a while, but most of these are from old collections. Metal detectorists in the 1960s or 70s who collected bits and pieces with their metal detectors, and in my mind's eye I can imagine, you know, Grandpa did this, Grandpa's gone now, Grandma doesn't want it in the living room anymore, so they give it to someone who will sell it on eBay or someplace for them. And the result of that is that I was able to actually purchase a bunch of real things that I can then make molds of and produce. Some of the things that I have here, I have simply created by looking at museum sites that have good pictures and graphics of individual pieces. I simply make a mold, a wax carved model of it, the same size as the original piece, and then I make molds. But in the case of these, I was able to actually use the real original pieces. So, for instance, here we have a little cross. We call this the ubiquitous cross because I have found it all over Great Britain and pretty much all across Northern Europe. Now, we have no idea who was distributing them, if they had some particular significance other than the fact that they were a cross. They are double-sided, so it is possible that they were actually used for the bottoms of rosaries, like this, where you have a cross hanging at the bottom of a rosary and you want it to look nice from both sides. But we don't know, and I have yet to find any professional academics who have said anything about it. I make an exact copy, and the original one, it'd be hard for you guys to see it, but the original one has enamel in the low areas, so I actually do sell, right here I do. I have I make them in both bronze and in sterling, and that's one of the bronze ones, and it actually has real enamel. Now, this is not enamel as in paint, this is enamel as in melted glass that is fused to the metal. And I make them in both the bronze, and I also have them in sterling, and then I make them plain in sterling too. So you can get them plain or you can get them with enamel. But yeah, these are a very popular item. You see they're double-sided, so when I enamel them, I double-side the enamel too. So that's kind of a fun piece. And it's been very enjoyable both to own these, to be able to look at the things up close, to understand exactly how they were manufactured, and to share with people. I have a bunch of things here that are like this that people really enjoy. It's like the girdle hanger that I showed you guys previously. Here's the original. Now, this was not sold to me as an Anglo-Saxon girdle hanger. Somebody thought it was a Roman key. I recognized it because I knew what a girdle hanger was, and Roman keys are shaped differently than this. So nobody bid on it except me because it wasn't a Roman key. So I was able to take this and make a copy of it. So people can own their very own usable one. I mean, you don't have to, like, I wouldn't not want to use this as an accessory because it's probably a little bit more fragile and it's not replaceable. But these guys, yeah, you can make them, you can use them. It's fun for people to have things that they know are actual copies of real pieces. And a lot of what I do in here is that I'm either taking examples of pieces from museum sites, or I am making molds of actual pieces. And some of them are extra cool, like these two. These are dress hooks. I sell a ton of these. They're Tudor era, and it'll be hard to see in the camera, but they're actually from the same mold. The difference is that one of them cast better than the other when they were actually casted, but they decided it was good enough, so they just didn't bother to recast it. But this one came from Great Britain, and this one came from the Netherlands. Okay, so there's a little channel there between the two countries, but they were obviously trading back and forth a ton when it came to small things like dress hooks and other accessories that would be used on belts and decorative pieces like that. So it was very fun. I had actually purchased this guy from one metal detectorist, and then I was looking at stuff from a metal detectorist in the Netherlands, and by blowing up the picture of what he had, I was able to make a good solid guess that these were from the same mold, and they are. They definitely are. So that was kind of exciting, and I actually make those. And yeah, the hook is bent down on this, so it's functional. Those don't have functional hooks on them anymore. But yeah, it's the same exact pattern. I actually used one of those and then repaired it. Sometimes when you're making the molds, it takes multiple steps where you actually make a mold of the piece and carefully put the piece back where it's supposed to be in its little case, and then you repair the wax that you make with the mold and then make new molds before you're actually able to cast the finished piece that you'll be able to use. But that's my basic process, and it's fun. It's fun, and people really enjoy the idea of being able to have pieces that they can see the original one, and then they can buy a copy that they can use for their presentation of their historical character. This is another example of a historic piece. So Tudor rose, came from Great Britain. That's the original. You can see he's all tarnished and stuff like that. But when you make a mold and you cast him in silver, that's what he looks like. And this is a very popular item. I sell them in both bronze and in sterling. Very fun. Anything else you want? Oh, he wants me to show off the little. There he is. A lunula. A lunula is simply a moon shape. This is a Roman lunula that came from Great Britain. You can see it's just a little crescent moon. And crescent moons have been used, I want to say, since time immemorial. We see them in rock carvings, rather. And this is what he looks like when he's been cast in bronze. And that allows people to have copies of ancient pieces that they can wear in their everyday life. And people, like I say, really like that. I cast these in both bronze and sterling. So that's kind of fun. But you can see, it's the same beast basically. And there'll be some variation between pieces because they're all hand cast, so they're not carbon copies out of a machine. But people seem to really like that idea because, you know, they've met the person who does it, they've seen the original, and now they get their very own copy. So I hope you enjoyed taking a quick dip into our mini museum here. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because obviously there's lots more going on. So until next time, bye.